Hi guys, today I'm gonna explain the remaining part in the cardiovascular system lesson in biology. So last time we discussed the blood pathway and the heart anatomy and everything related to the heart and blood circulation. Today I'm gonna explain to you what are the types of blood vessels, and you already did the worksheet about this, so later on you can correct it. Regarding the blood vessels, you know that we have three types of blood vessels in our body. Can you see in the picture that we have arteries, capillaries, and veins? Let's see what is the difference between them. So, if you take a look at arteries, you're gonna see that always arteries carry blood away from the heart, while veins carry blood to the heart. This is the first difference. The other difference is that arteries carry oxygenated blood except for pulmonary artery. I'm going to show you this picture. So you can see that the aorta carries oxygenated blood, while the pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood, while the veins carry deoxygenated blood in the vena cava, but the pulmonary vein carry the blood rich in O2. So we cannot say that all arteries carry blood rich in O2 and veins carry blood rich in CO2, because there is an exception, which is pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. So this is another difference between them. A third difference is that arteries have thicker walls. So if you look at this picture, you can see that the wall of the artery is thicker than the wall of the vein. Okay? But arteries in their walls have more elastic fibers than veins, while veins have more smooth muscles, because they need these smooth muscles so they can contract and push blood, while in arteries we don't need to push blood because already the heart is pumping this blood. Now I'm going to talk about the blood capillaries, the tiniest blood vessels in your body. So we already know that blood capillaries allow exchange of gas and nutrients. So let's say we're talking about the lungs. In the lungs we have alveoli surrounded by blood capillaries. These blood capillaries will allow the exchange of O2 and CO2, so eventually we can enrich the blood with O2. Same thing happens in cells, at the level of cells, but at the level of the cells we have opposite direction, in which the oxygen will be carried toward the cell and CO2 will be given to the blood capillary. So you have to know that blood capillaries are very thin. They are permeable. Permeable, it means they allow the passage of gas and other materials. So they allow exchange of materials. That's it regarding blood vessels. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about blood pressure. Okay, I already asked you to research about blood pressure. What is blood pressure? It is caused by blood pushing against the inside walls of the main arteries. So when the heart pumps blood, this blood will exert a force on the walls of the arteries. This is what is called blood pressure, okay? So when we measure the blood pressure, we are measuring the pressure exerted by blood against the walls of arteries. Okay, so of course it's highest when the heart contracts and lowest when the heart relaxes. How do we take blood pressure? We use a device called sphygmomanometer. You have to be familiar with this word. And we say that the average blood pressure of a healthy young person is about 12/8, which is 120/80, and the unit is millimeter of mercury. So the unit of blood pressure is millimeter of mercury, and a healthy person has 120/80, or we say 12/8 millimeter of mercury. This is the normal and average blood pressure. But of course, if someone has hypertension, it means his blood pressure is very high. This will or may weaken the blood vessels and cause them to rupture. So it's not good at all to have high blood pressure. It will rupture the arteries. In the opposite case, if we have hypotension, it means low, while hyper is more. So hypotension means that the person has low blood pressure, it means the blood cannot carry enough O2 and nutrients to the cells. So it's not good also to have hypotension. That's it regarding the blood pressure. Now I'm going to mention something about the blood itself. You know that the blood is a fluid and it has many components. The main component of blood are the plasma. The plasma is the fluid that make up the blood. So the plasma contains everything like enzymes, proteins, cells, everything in the blood. Other important part of the blood is the red blood cell. A red blood cell, as you can see in this picture, these are the red blood cells. They have a donut shaped or disc shape. They are very important because they can carry O2 in the blood. So red blood cells, they carry oxygen in the blood. Why can they carry oxygen? Because they contain a protein called hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin of the red blood cells is a protein that can carry O2 and a little bit of CO2, and hemoglobin gives the blood its color. That's why it's important. Another type of cell found in the blood is the white blood cell. The white blood cell, they have irregular shapes. You can see we have many shape of white blood cells, and they are important because they allow us to fight diseases by attacking pathogen and kill them. Another part also of the blood is the platelets. You can see the platelets are cell fragments. We say they are cell fragments. It means they are not a cell, they are fragments or pieces of cells, so they do not contain nucleus. Their role is to stop bleeding. Let's say if you have a cut in your skin, eventually you will stop bleeding because of the platelets, so they play a role in wound healing. Okay. Also the red blood cells, they do not have a nucleus, just for your information. Now at the end I'm going to talk about the blood types, and in that way we will be done with this lesson. So you know that we have 4 blood types. We have the A, the B, the AB and the O. What is the difference between them? So the difference is between the proteins located on the surface of the red blood cell. So if you are an A person, you have the protein A on your red blood cell. If you are a B person, you have the protein B on your red blood cell. If you are an AB person, you have both proteins A and B. We call them also antigens. These proteins are called also antigens. And if you are an O person, you have no proteins or no antigen on your red blood cells. This is the main difference between the 4 types of blood. And you have to know that blood transfusion is the transfer of blood from a donor to a recipient. So when we do a blood transfusion, it means we are transferring blood from one person called donor to a recipient that will receive this blood. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions, you can ask me later on eSchool.